everybody, how you doing? Welcome to the big show. My name is Mickey, and this is Mickey in the Middle, the quintessential show for Middle Americans, where all Middle Americans are welcome. It doesn't matter where you've been, doesn't matter where you've been, doesn't matter where you've been, doesn't matter where you're going. It just matters that you're here right now with the Middle Americans. We love Middle Americans here, all of them. I don't care what side of the aisle you are on. I don't even care whether you're batshit crazy or not. Just the fact that you're living in America and you're living your best middle American life is good enough for me. Today we're going to be talking about the American dream. There's a great big huge misconception in the United States of America because our education system has lied to people. There's a lot of great teachers out there. Don't get me wrong. My wife was a teacher. My wife was a principal. She was an academic coach. She was very learned. She was very smart. It didn't start off that way. We just two young kids trying to live the American dream when we started. She left home when she was 17 years old to become a wrestler in the WWF. Hey, how about that? That's the first time that that's been said over the airwaves. So let's get to the big show. Let's do this first, and then we'll get to the big show and talk about the American dream. So, as always, we talk about the Constitution of the United States of America, the greatest document ever written. It's nothing except architecture for our government. That's all that it is. Sharing the world with 8,259,000. Oh, yeah, that's billion. 8,259,252. And can we get to 100? No, we're not going to get to 100 right now. But that's all right. So the American population owes 38. You get my dyslexia is kicking in hard right now. All right. So that's 38. So we're 38,216,000,000,409,400,000 people. Oh my gosh. You know, when I get tired, all of the things in my brain get really hardwired wrong. So the longer I stay up and everything just kind of goes haywire in my brain, and then I can't think of I don't even know how to operate a spoon and a fork eventually. And sometimes I just get really stuck hard, and I thank God most of the time that I don't get stuck. But that time it just hit me right in the hard. So anyway, welcome to the big show. We're talking about the American dream. If you're living the American dream, if you could go ahead and send me a chat and just say, hey, I'm living the American dream, because the American dream is different for everybody, right? My idea of the American dream is not what your idea of the American dream is. The idea of the American dream is freedom to pursue what you want to pursue. Live your best life. That's the pursuit of the American dream. And shouldn't that be the motto? Live your best life. The American dream. Live your best life. Now, here's what the deal is. You can live your own best life, but you can't ask anybody to provide you with that life. That's the way that I see it. That's the way that the world was founded, right? So when we were in the United States, or when people were in Europe and they were trying to expand their horizons and they were trying to do some good stuff in the world, what happened was they said, you know what? We're being oppressed, and this is not going to work for us anymore. We're really tired of the kings and the queens telling us what to do. We're really tired of the dictators. We're tired of the wars. You got to remember, for eons and eons and eons, it was like, what's that thing with the dragons? Game of Thrones? That's the way it is. That's the way that it was. Families, single dudes, sometimes single women, would go, hey, you know what? I would like to have that land over there. So why don't I get a bunch of people together and we'll just go over there and kill everybody that's over there, or we will subjugate them and we'll make them all slaves. And then they'll have to do whatever we say. Now, this has been going on for thousands and thousands of years. So the Romans did it. Who's that? Genghis Khan did it, right? For thousands of years. That's how England came to power, right? So the was it the Rothschilds? The Windsors, the House of Windsor. Yeah. So that's what they did, right? And then the Bolsheviks in Russia. And then France was run by kings. So France, Spain, Portugal, Germany, Prussia, Turkey, the Ottoman Empire, Japan, the I don't know who ran Japan, but it was one person, right? One family. Same thing in China. So that's the way the whole world was. And eventually people got tired of that stuff. It's not that people got tired of it, it's that people yearned to be free and they figured out a way to be free. And there is a huge, huge, huge market for freedom. And that's why I wanted to talk about the American dream, because the American dream is not being slave to anybody else. The American dream is about being to thy own self be true. And if you can to thine own self be true, then you're doing something right. Now, if you think living the American dream is making $1 billion, well, I got news for you. That's a great goal. Great goal. And good luck with that. I hope you get it. But most of us are not going to get that. Right. So I don't know what your dream looks like, but if it involves me, you should at least ask me. Right. So there's a lot of people that are living their best life and taking taxpayer money that's not involved. Right. There's a lot of people living the American dream that are crooks and criminals that are living their best life. We're not asking that either. Right. You can't be mean. You can't be a criminal. You can't be a drug lord. You can't be a mafia boss and don and taking advantage of systems unless you're legit. Unless you're a legit one, and there are legit mafias out there. And the reason I'm saying that is being free is liberating. Now, I was in the United States military for 30 years. I was. And one of the things I liked about being in the military was it was very structured. And when I was young, I needed a lot of structure. I was an absolute mess. I was all over the place. Great guy, but I was still all over the place. And then drinking got involved, and I was way out of control. So I'm thankful that the United States Air Force let me stay in, but it was very structured. And the entire time I was in, I was yearning to be free. I wanted to do my own thing in the Air Force, but they were like, "Yeah, Mickey, we're not really set up for everybody to do their own thing in the military. So if you comply with these rules and you do what we say and you follow the orders of those appointed above you, the President of the United States, then, you're going to be doing okay." So I did that, and I did it for 30 years. But the entire time I kept dreaming about businesses, and I did some network marketing stuff, and I did some other small businesses, and I opened up a house building business in 2008. It's called The Best Builders Ever. Oh, did anybody remember what happened in 2008? Yeah, the housing market crashed. So I got stuck with two houses because I was trying to build my American dream. I didn't have a construction license, but I was going to go build houses with a couple of friends of mine, and we were going to go live the American dream. We were going to be the best builders ever in the United States of America. So I went out and I spent a lot of money, I built a house, and the loans worked out. We had a great house. Didn't work out as a business, but I only say that because when I say that I've been yearning to be free and living my American dream for a long time, I've been living that dream for a long time. But I remember distinctly talking with my friends when I was a kid about living the American dream and what it meant to each one of us. And it all looked different. Some of it involved fishing, some of it involved working hard, some of it meant family, some of it meant uh, doing great things for other people. And all those are all admirable. But are we teaching our kids that now? Or are we teaching our kids that, hey, your job when you're young is to go to school and get educated and then go work for somebody else? That's a tough pill for me to swallow. You want to know why? Because I've never wanted to work for somebody else in my entire life. I hate having bosses. Now, don't get me wrong. I have had some incredible bosses. I've had great, great, great bosses. I've only had a couple of bosses in my entire Air Force career that really, really sucked. But Most of the time, my bosses were great, and I was blessed because of that. And then eventually, when I stopped getting in trouble, because I got in a lot of trouble when I was younger, when I eventually started getting out of trouble, those bosses took care of me when I took care of them, and then I eventually did pretty good in the military. The reason I bring that up is your American dream doesn't have to be alone. It can be with a group. I thought that my entire American dream was actually being in the military there for a while. I love deploying. Don't take this the wrong way. I love going off to war. I'm not sicko or anything like that. But I did enjoy going off to war. I thought that at the time, I thought that everything that we were doing was my job was to defend the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that was the best way that I could do it. So ever since I got in, when my compadres headed off to Grenada, I got in and everybody went to Grenada. Shortly after that, there was Panama, and then shortly after that, there was Kosovo, and then shortly after that, there was other stuff happening, and then the Berlin Wall came down. Remember when the Berlin Wall came down? Or Berlin Wall came down, then there was Kosovo. And yeah, I was there when the Berlin Wall. I showed you guys a picture of the. I showed you guys a picture of a rock from the Berlin Wall that I chipped off myself. By the way, East Germany's a horrible place. So anyway, but I thought that's what my American dream was supposed to be. And then I remembered when I was a kid, I dreamed, hey, I have a nice house. I got great neighbors. There's a pond in my backyard, and look at me, I did it. I got my American dream. I didn't want to have $1 billion. I didn't want to have a boss. So through 30 years and careful planning, me and my wife decided that what we wanted to have our retirement look like, the American dream. Now, other than paying so much in taxes, which is horrible, but I understand where they go. Your American dream is important. But did you do that or did the schools do that? Because the way that I look at it is the American dream has been taken away from our kids. Everybody's worried about this politic thing going on, right? Who's going to save the climate? Are we going to have trans athletes in women's spaces? Are we going to throw Trump in jail? Or are we going to go to war with Venezuela? What's going on with Russia? What's going on in Ukraine? We put so much pressure on the kids that nobody has time to think about the American dream. Damn, why don't we just let them be? When the little go, hey, what do you want to be? How are you going to get there? Not what do you want to be? Not what do you want to be? It shouldn't be the question. The question is what do you want to do? And what do you want your life to look like? Because if you're going to be something, that means you have to fit into somebody else's mold. Like my daughter's a doctor. She went to school for 22 years. You got to remember, she didn't start school until she was 5. But she went to school. Yeah. She started school when she was 5, and she went to school for 22 years. And now she's 27. She just got out of school earlier this year. The reason I say that is she didn't always want to be a doctor. Her American dream changed. She didn't know what she wanted to be when she was growing up. She just knew that she wanted to study hard, and she wanted to go do it. She wanted to do good things in the world. And the American dream, right? The American dream is being snatched away because before the 1800s and the Industrial Revolution, everybody was out there living their best dream and farming and exploring and hunting for their food and family life. And hey, yeah, it was harder life. It was harder life. But then when the Industrial Revolution came along and everybody moved into the cities, everybody went, holy smokes, these are some dumbass people. They weren't. They just knew different things. They knew how to farm. They didn't know how to weld. Hell, man, they never seen a welder. They never knew how a internal combustion engine worked. Shoot, we didn't have cars until the late 1800s. You didn't see. So Abraham Lincoln in 1860, that was the era of the Civil War. There were no cars there. They had some trains, so they understand the idea. But it wasn't until the 1900s that cars came around. And then after 1900 and 1950, all transportation kind of exploded. Airplanes came up, trains took off, cars did this. It gave people a greater opportunity to do things, but they needed people to work in the factories to make all that stuff. So the politicians and the business people got together and said, "Hey, send everybody to school." And as my wife says, line them up like they're in a graveyard. Remember how in the first front row you would have the A's, going to the B's, going to the C's, going to the D's, and my wife said that classroom used to look like a graveyard. Everybody sitting in rows, side to side. She said it was the saddest thing she'd ever seen. But they were preparing those children to go to work for somebody else, because by then the robber barons had already set up shop, and because they had the car factories, right? So they had the car factories, they had the train systems, airplanes were coming on. They started doing industrialization, and they started the steel plants. They started industrial farming. They needed people to work. So they needed educated people that wouldn't break equipment and wouldn't be dumb. And then they made the American dream from, you get to do whatever you want and live however you want, into, hey, what do you want to be? Do you want to be an auto mechanic? Well, great, because Ford's got great jobs, or Chevy's got great jobs, or Toyota's got great jobs. Or do you want to work with your hands? Well, we have positions in the steel mill or in the factory. You can put in circuit boards. You can, oh man, you can go work for if you get smart, you can go work for anybody. That. Hey, how about you work for yourself? The government took away your American dream. Did you know that? The government took away your American dream. That's why they treat corporations differently than individuals on taxes. See, when they came up with the income tax system, what they said was, hey, we're going to have the bosses do the taxes and do all the paperwork for that. So your boss, if you're an employee, your boss has to figure out all of that stuff for the government. Did you know that? So they got to take the money out of your check according to your W-2 or W-4, one of the W's, right? You got to take all the money out according to whether you want it to be taken out. Then they take in your income. Then they have to pay their half of Social Security. They have to withhold the amount of money that you're got, and then they have to go put that into the government. Yes. Did you know all that? And then they made it a hassle for you to do your taxes. So they made it a hassle for you, so you get an easier life because you don't have to do all the paperwork for taxes every single month, but your boss does. But your boss, because your boss is doing that, your boss gets great tax benefits. Because they get great tax benefits, that's why they're writing off their vehicles. That's why they're writing off the infrastructure of their companies. That's why nobody owns a house anymore. If you're rich, all they do is the company owns it, and then you lease it from the company, and then eventually the company gets rid of it and it sells it to you for dirt cheap. That's the way that it works. So all of the laws in the United States of America have been set up for people that want to be individuals and want to run businesses and stuff like that. But they train everybody to be a worker. Does that make sense? God, I hope I'm making sense. All right. One of the things that spurred this conversation on was, I believe that there's three kind of people in the world. Three, right? The first kind of people in the world have time, right? They could be smart. They can be smart, but they have time. So they're open to working multiple kinds of jobs. So they can go get jobs in the service industry. They can go get trucking in the trucking industry, which is one of the largest in the country. They can go work at any factory. They can do service work. They can work in almost every single industry. Those are the people that have time on their hands. You're going, oh, Mickey. Yeah, those people, yeah, they're valuable to the culture. They are. There's a second kind that have time, but they also have one other thing. It's a skill set. So I'm calling those people the intellectuals with skills. Now, the intellectuals with skills, they're your doctors, they're your lawyers, they're your engineers, they're your nurses. Those are the people that are designers. You take your skill and you offer it for sale. And when somebody pays you, now they get paid more money, normally on average, than the people with time. And the reason is because they have that skill. They've either gone to college, they've got some special learning, they know how to do things, right? So they're intellectually and they're specified and they do that. So that's the next rung up. But you know what the next rung is above the intellectuals, right? You got time people, you have intellectual, smart people. The other people that have things. The thing people are the people that make America work because they have things like cars or they have the ability to make a car. So they have the things. And then they hire the intellectual people to do the things like an accountant and a lawyer. How about that? Right? So somebody with an MBA goes to work for somebody that has the things and has the company because those people are truly free because they figured out a way to live on their terms and make money on their terms by making and having things. Do you have to have any special skill set to have things? No. I'm making games right now called Flick Killer. I got an app called the Poker Run app. Shortly, we're going to have the Poker Run network. It's going to be out there as well. And it's going to be franchised like McDonald's. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day. And I was like, how many hamburgers does McDonald's sell? None. McDonald's doesn't sell any hamburgers. McDonald's sells cases of hamburgers because they have a thing and they make everybody buy that thing from them. Those things, those people that buy them are the franchisees that are all across the country. McDonald's doesn't sell any hamburgers. The franchisees sell hamburgers. So every time that you go in, somebody else is selling McDonald's hamburgers. They're taking the cases, they're breaking it down individual because they're getting it wholesale, and that's where the profit for a McDonald's is. So McDonald's has things. They have the property, they have the paper, they have the hamburgers, the shakes, they have the system, they have a thing. Go get yourself a thing. The sooner you can get yourself a thing, then the sooner you can turn that into money. Now, not all things make money, right? It's better to have cards than a checkerboard. I'm just saying, right? So you got to make sure that the thing that you have is worth it. But it doesn't matter where you fall on that scale. But the most thing that people have is time. Just because you have time does not mean you can't live the American dream. Matter of fact, people with time make it very, very successful, and then they buy baseball teams. They make software. They go out and do amazing things. So just because you have time does not mean that you can't be successful. And just because you have things doesn't mean that you can't be successful. But the American dream's got to be what you want to look at it. But right now, the system is fighting you. So the system says, you got to go get an education and you got to go work for somebody else. Boo! Boo! That's the system. But here's what the thing is. When you do that, you got to remember that you're not working for them. You are working as a corporation. It's you incorporated. You are the one that's supposed to be making your decisions based on your company and how you deal with the company that you're working for. Do they treat you with respect? Do they like you? Do they believe that you have your own agency? Do they believe in your dream and your future? Because here's the thing is, you're putting them first whenever you go to work because you're contractually obligated to do that. But you're running your own corporation. You got to remember, you got to keep your corporation happy. Your corporation consists of you being the CEO and the other family members filling that out. So the CEO, the CFO, the CTO, chief technology, chief of, I don't know what it is, but it's something out there. Technology, chief of technology, chief IT, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So you got to treat your life like the corporation does because your corporation should be the most important thing to you. It shouldn't be the company that you're working for, although you can have them in high regard and you keep them in your favor. I want to kind of finish up by talking about living your best life, because that's what this is all about. I want you to live your best life. Now, a friend of mine right now is on a cruise. I hope that she gets to go cruising for the rest of her life. She's going to be back on Sunday. But the reason I mention that is because she loves to cruise. And I got a text from her husband today that was like, woo, we're having a blast out here cruising. And I'm like, man, when you get to that spot, I hope that you can go cruising every single day. Me and my retirement, now that I retired from the military, after a careful plan, so I was planning on getting out when I was 20. And then I had a conversation with my wife. It was like, well, how are we going to get to me living my best life and me not working? She goes, if you make chief and you stay 10 years, then you're going to have enough money that we can retire. And in 5 years, I'll be following you or in 10 years, I'll be following you, because she's a lot younger than me. But in 10 years, then we can live our best life and we can go cruising. We can go have vacations and we can go do whatever the heck we want. So get to your American dream as fast as you possibly can. Some people can get there when they're 18 years of age. Some are somebody hands it to them at 5 years old. Some people aren't going to be able to make it until they're 70. But here's the deal. Figure out what your American dream is and then chase it. And then you work your dream, not somebody else's dream. Because when you start working your own dream, then you are keeping yourself at the forefront and you can be honest with yourself. I fire myself all the time. I'm like, wow, you are lazy. You are crappy. You have not thought of a new way to do this. I fire myself all the time. But Spillane Enterprises is going strong and well, and we will be at the PGA show down in Orlando on the 20th of January with a brand new product called the Poker Run app. So if you're going to be down in Orlando on the 20th of January, I will see you down there. I will be living my best American dream. So Tor Black says, oh, hey, Tor, how you doing, man? Carolyn, how you doing? Tor Black, living the dream, paid for by our time in the United States Air Force together, fighting for the freedom we citizens enjoy that many other countries don't. There is no freedom without sacrifice. Amen. I chose to sacrifice so that my children have better opportunities in their young adult years. Structure is good. Structure is good. Structure saved me, Tor. I'm telling you right now. Hey, it's been a great show. I want you guys to go live your best American dream. And remember, I will see you next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Mickey in the middle of the week. You guys be good, and I'll check you out later. Bye.